Welcome everybody to our weekly product training webinars. My name is Cass Niker. I'm in charge of vendor management here at Vendasta, and thank you very much for joining. We're here to talk today about our marketplace and specific products that are in our marketplace. And just want to remind you that especially if you're looking to grow your revenue, it's kind of a loaded question there. Are you looking to grow your revenue? The answer is most likely going to be yes. But that's where we're here to help with our marketplace, best-in-class digital products and services that you can sell to your local customer, your local SMB. We've done a lot of this work for you of providing these products within marketplace that you can go out and sell right away and start growing that revenue stream. Again, where can you find this? Within your partner center, you'll be able to find all of the marketplace products that are available to you, as well as you can talk to your partner success manager and they'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So just remember, every product that we have for you is a new revenue stream, and we're here to help out wherever we can. And one of the great products that we're excited to bring to our marketplace that has been out for a little while is Visual Visitor. And just a reminder, we are giving away some versions of some activations of Visual Visitor. We're giving away 4 of these that are available to you for 3 months at no cost to you. So please make sure to stay on the webinar till the end. Of course, we have to make you do that. And then we'll announce the winners at the very end of the webinar. So I'd like to introduce to you Kevin Batchelor. He's the CEO of Visual Visitor. Hey, Kevin, how's it going today?
Good afternoon, Cass. And thank you and everyone else for joining us today. I'm excited to share with everyone how Visual Visitor can help their business as well as their clients.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much for coming on, Kevin. And we're excited to show our partners exactly how they can position this to their customers and what the real value is to them. So again, today's focus that we do have is on Visual Visitor, and Kevin is going to be walking us through a bit of why you need to start selling this to your customers, how your customers can actually use this, and even yourself as a partner that you can use Visual Visitor yourself, and we'll even show a live demo at the end. So remember, within Marketplace, you can see Visual Visitor right now. It's an approved product that we've had in there for a while, and it is doing very well amongst our partnership group, selling it to their customers as well as partners using it themselves on their own websites. Now, when it comes to questions, please ask any questions that you want within the chat. We'll make sure to answer those at the end, and we can answer them then. So what is Visual Visitor? And Kevin, I'm going to pass this over to you to kind of discuss where you guys are, how you guys kind of got there, and how you can help our partners out.
That's great. Thank you, Cass. So a little bit about who we are before we get started. We would like to say that we started out to change an industry or to change the world, but you know, it really didn't happen that way. It was really 2 brothers, myself and my brother, working on a project together, and we really needed to know who was visiting a particular website. And when we got done with that project, we realized that we ended up with something that was a lot like caller ID for your website. So we're gonna get more into that in just a minute, but we're a software as a service, and we have a proven track record with over 2,000 paying customers. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, Cass. So a little bit about what we do. Our core product is anonymous website visitor identification. That is, who's visiting your website, what are they looking for? It's that caller ID for your website. So for those of you who remember what it was like before we had caller ID for the phone. You know, the phone would ring and you would just pick it up not knowing who was on the other end. Like today, you get calls on your cell phone or your home phone, sometimes you don't even bother to answer. You're like, hey, that's Bob. I'll call him back in just a few minutes, because you know exactly who it is and probably what they're looking for. And we're going to do the same thing for you and your customer's website. So we'll get into why that's important in just a moment. So we also integrate with email campaign tracking, form captures, and integrate with over 700 applications with our Zapier integration. So what is anonymous visitor identification, and why is it so important? You know, we understand that you and your customers have invested thousands of dollars into your web presence and driving traffic to your web presence, only to have about 2 to 3% of those visitors ever fill out a form or send in an email inquiring about your product or service. Now, you couple that with the fact that the buyer's journey has changed over the years to now approximately 70% of the buyer's journey is now complete before they ever reach out to engage your sales staff. So we help companies get into the buyer's journey earlier by identifying who's on your website, possible contacts, their names, email addresses, and enabling that in real time to your sales staff so they can pick up the phone and engage in a relationship so that you can get into the buyer's journey while they're still framing up what their needs are, what problem they're trying to solve, so you can guide that conversation to fit your product or service.
Great point there, Kevin. And also, just as a note, we at Vendasta here, we actually use this on our own website as well, and we found a lot of great information from this. But also, Kevin, just to confirm, this is specifically, a B2B type product, correct?
It is. It is. We do have components that can be used for a B2C scenario, such as the email campaign integration. Mm-hmm. But our primary focus is really around any company selling to another business, and we'll cover some examples of that later on in the presentation as well.
Perfect. So going into this next slide, I'm just going to play a quick video on Visual Visitor here, and then we'll get into the rest of it right after.
Great.
This is Sam, the sales guy. He wants to make more sales. He knows the company website is getting plenty of hits, but he's not receiving any leads from it. So he goes to see if IT can help him. This is Irving, the IT guy. He wants the sales guy to stop bothering him.
So, Irving, I'd like to get more leads from our website. Can you help me with that? What do you mean we're not getting leads? Here are all the analytics we're collecting. We have a low bounce rate, thousands of hits. Our SEO and retargeting are phenomenal. You must be too slow to understand. What the am I supposed to do with this? I want leads, not statistics. An IP address is not a lead. A country is not a lead. Seeing page requests is not a lead. A bounce rate is not a lead. I want names and phone numbers.
So Sam found Visual Visitor Anonymous Visitor Identification and had Irving, the IT guy, perform the 5-minute setup. Now, when a prospect visits the company's website, Visual Visitor researches them in real time. This includes company name, phone number, and social media background on the prospect. Your sales staff receives an email with the lead information while the prospect is still on your website. This is all happening without the visitor knowing. No forms to complete, no registration required. This makes Sam, the sales guy, very happy. Oh, and Irving is happy that Sam is no longer bothering him. Get more leads with a free trial of Visual Visitor at www.visualvisitor.com.
Perfect. So this that video now leads us into, as I move up to the next slide here. Oh, just going a little ahead.
Sorry, a little too far.
Yeah, there we go. Don't want to get too far on there. Perfect. So now I want to go into how does this exactly work, Kevin? So I'll give it to you here.
So it's real simple. So there's a small tracking code that gets placed on your website. When a prospect visits your website, the tracking code is activated and sends us a tiny bit of information about that visitor. We then use that data to collect all of the information that we have in our various data sets. We compile it all and send it to you in an email as a qualified lead. So if you go on to the next page, Cass, an important thing to remember is that the customer or the visitor to your website didn't have to fill out any form. There was no interaction except for simply visiting your website that triggered us getting this information to you. So a little bit about the identification process and what makes us different from analytics. So it's great to have analytics on your site, and we have some analytics built in to our product as well, just to gain an understanding. But our identification process works like this. We collect data from telecommunications providers worldwide so that we understand who owns which IP addresses. We then take that and combine it with all the other data sources that we have, so that when somebody comes to your website, we then find the company, their address, the list of possible contacts with their name, phone number, and email addresses. We give you the page views that they're looking at so you can understand what their interest is. Any keyword information that they used, any campaign information that might have come out of an email campaign, and quick links for additional research. We then take all of this, if you go to the next slide, and deliver qualified sales leads directly to your salespeople in real time while the visitor is still on your website, so that you know the salesperson is then armed with, I know that this company with this list of potential contacts is looking at these products and services, and I can use that information to look up a little more information on the company, and then pick up the phone and reach out to engage with that potential client. So again, you can get in on the buyer's journey much earlier than that last 30%.
Perfect. I really like that story about the buyer's journey, Kevin, and not getting them at the very end, but getting them at the beginning and helping with that consultative process.
And you know, the part about that, Cass, is I guess it really hits home when you hear some of the success stories. So we have a partner out of Pennsylvania called Mojo Active, who used Visual Visitor for one of their clients called Zartman Construction. And Zartman Construction received one day received a email alert from us that said, you know, this large company down the street was visiting their heavy equipment rental page. Their vice president of sales picked up the phone, reached out to the contact, engaged with the customer, was early on in the relationship, and he won a $100,000 equipment rental deal from that conversation.
Wow.
So it really, it's about timing, and it's about being the first one in. And, you know, that's half the battle.
Yep, absolutely. Sales is all about timing, knowing what they're looking at and when to get to them. Absolutely.
So if you want to go to the next slide, on top of that, it's really easy to use. It takes just a few minutes to set up. We even have a WordPress plugin available if need be. There's no real configuration. It comes configured out of the box, you know, as a service. So you can change different settings, which we'll go into as we go through the live presentation. Works on your mobile devices, and there's really no maintenance. It just continues to run and provide qualified leads for you, as well as a significant amount of reporting. So not only do you get all of the information delivered in your email, but you also get emailed daily reports, weekly reports. Much of our information is downloadable into CSVs for further processing. We also have reporting services built in for running canned reports as well.
Yeah, proof of performance is very important. Being able to see what's actually happening and prove that out for your customers to be able to see that is very key for sure. Perfect. So Kevin, we're going to go into a live demo next of the product. So let me just bring that up here.
All right.
And I'll share my screen with you. And there we go. So now we're going to go into a live demo, and Kevin's going to show us exactly about the setup and what your customer will see.
Okay. Waiting for my screen to share.
Yep.
Can you see my screen?
Yep, it's working.
Okay, great. There we go. All right. So when you log into Visual Visitor, you're presented with a dashboard to summarize some of the important data that you need. So for instance, since the beginning of March, we've had 641 companies identified visiting our site, 178 email visitors identified, 2 from form captures, and 6,970 page views. A list of the most recent visitors to your site. You can come in here and you can open up to see, you know, who they are, what they did. We're going to go into more detail in this section in just a moment. A traffic summary overview of how you're doing from a, you know, companies identified to total visitors, keywords that have been used, where your traffic is coming from a map perspective, most active companies. So as you're digging into this information, you're going to want to dig into your leads, who's actually been visiting. So as an example, I'll bring up a company called AppNexus. They visited this morning at 6:05 a.m. And when I bring up that information, it tells me when they visited, the domain name, their location, what page they visited, where they came from, their IP, their revenue. Take a look at the pages that they visited so we get an understanding of what they're looking at. Page view summary of what they've looked at in the past. Quick research links. So if I want to come in here, I can just click on Google and you can see it. It quickly Googles that company for you, or any of these other Facebook or LinkedIn, you name it. A list of potential contacts. So I can reach out and either email or call or reach out via LinkedIn for that contact. Any keywords or campaign information that they might have used to find our site.
So Kevin, a quick question on that. When you see a potential contact to call, is there any liability in contacting these people without their consent? I know it's kind of maybe public knowledge that you're finding this from different sites, but is there any liability there or any suggestions?
No, there's no liability in reaching out and starting a conversation. Really, all of this data came from public records. We simply gather that data. It's no more than reaching out and placing a phone call if you picked up somebody's card at a trade show.
Perfect.
Make sense?
Yep.
All right. So moving on. So you have the ability to come in here and search for different filter on different companies, but you can also search based on country, URL, state, keywords, all types of data, ways of slicing and dicing it. You can quickly export to a CSV or an Excel document. Now, we also integrate with form captures. So as people fill out your forms, all of that data is captured right here in the system. And so what we do is we use the system for mapping these fields so that when you get an alert, you now know that it's the exact visitor that filled out the form. So now that this person has filled out the form, anytime they ever return to the site, you're going to know that Jeff Stevens was back on your site and what he was looking at. And that works the same way with email campaign integration. So as people click on your email campaigns to find out information that you've been sending them, you can know that, for instance, Bill has viewed 38 pages. And we can come in here and understand what exactly he has viewed, what he's done, how long he's been on each page, a summary of what he's looked at, the quick research. And we can also see that, hey, he also came in via Google pay-per-click campaign, and he used attract visitors to my website as a key phrase. So all kinds of great information on the prospects and what they're looking for and understanding. And the important part is once you tag somebody from an email or form perspective, you always know when they return to your site what they're looking for. And that's got some other great uses that we'll talk about later on. We have integrated reporting. We can export raw data, or we can run a canned report that will bring up a quick summary of data. And you can, in turn, export that into a common set of applications. Now, we won't go into client email because that's something that's still in beta, but we'll quickly run through the analytics. Like I said, analytics are important. It's great to understand where your visitors are coming from and what they're looking at. But the primary focus of our product is focused on generating leads for your salespeople. So this gives you an understanding of where they're coming from, where they're coming from, what their traffic looks like, have you seen an increase or a decrease, all the standard analytics stuff, what kind of devices that they're using, how engaged are they, how are your bounces, who's referring you the traffic, what pages they're coming in on, what pages they're leaving on, and you can drill down into all of this information. But again, I really want to focus more on the lead handling and what it means from a sales perspective. So from a user point of view, every user of the system gets their own unique lead handling rules. So they can choose how often they receive email alerts, whether or not they want to subscribe to the daily and weekly reports. They can have their own watch lists. All that data can be changed under lead handling. They also have the opportunity to set up territory rules. So if they're only interested in particular states or in particular countries, they can set those options in here and only be alerted on those settings. They can also set up watch and exclude lists if they were interested or not interested in particular companies. So remember what I was saying, how easy it was to install? It's literally this tiny little script would get installed on your website, and that enables all the tracking that we need. Everything happens asynchronously, so it doesn't have any performance impact on your site. It's really a lot like Google Analytics from that point of view. We have all kinds of other options around excluding IP addresses, integrating your email campaigns, integrating your forms capture like I showed you, filtering companies and filtering contacts available. So all kinds of settings that allow you to control what data you're interested, what companies you're interested in, and giving you that option to control all of that data. Now, another important piece to remember is through the entire system, there is video-based help on every single section of the application. So if there's ever any time you want more information, all you have to do is click help, and there's video documentation for you.
Perfect.
All right. So now, Cass, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that demo, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Perfect. So as we continue, what is this opportunity? You know, who is this available to? And again, this opportunity is huge. You might have seen the same slide on some other presentations, but with the number of SMBs, especially in the United States, and how many of them have a website, because this is a product that is a great add-on for any website. If you're building websites for them, if you're using Vendasta's tools to build websites, it's a perfect one. So again, going into additional uses of Visual Visitor, Kevin.
Sure. So, you know, like I was saying, as we were going through the demo, there's a lot of additional uses to this data. So we've all been there as salespeople. We worked with a potential customer, you know, for months, building up to that moment of proposal. We finally deliver a proposal to them that we think is solid and we're definitely going to win, only to have the customer drop off the face of the earth and disappear for 6 months, not returning any of your calls or your emails, and you don't know what happened. Well, with Visual Visitor, a lot of times what we see is that customer got busy, got focused on something else, got pulled off the project, and then suddenly they'll show back up on your website looking at some data that, you know, they needed questions answered on because they started working on the project, but they weren't telling any of the vendors. So this gives you that perfect opportunity to pick up the phone and re-engage with that client because you know that they're looking at your data again. So another great option is to focus on your outbound sales effort. So a lot of people are still doing outbound calling, and you know, a lot of that leads to a lot of leaving of messages, and you never really know if anything happened. If they never called you back, you'd never know if there were any activity around that message. But you know what? You might have left them a message and they might have gone out and looked at your website. Wouldn't it be great to know if any of those companies that you called in the last week were then visiting your website? That provides a lot of great detail back to that organization on the effectiveness that you might not have been able to see before. The email campaigns, what happens after you click? So a lot of email campaign companies, you know, MailChimp, Constant Contact, offer the ability to track when somebody clicks on a link or reads the email. But what we do is we take it a step further and allow you to see what happens after the click. So when you send somebody that email and they click on the link and they go to your site and they look at the information. Well, they might look at it and they might not do anything with it, but they might return in a week or 2 weeks back to your site and begin digging into doing more research on your product or service. And that's when you want to pick up the phone and try to engage if you didn't get them the first time. So it's all about feeding your salespeople that timely information on those visitors so that they can engage and get into the buyer's journey earlier on. And the last piece is market segmentation. So a lot of people, and us included, spend a significant amount of money on driving traffic to your web presence. But are you driving the right traffic? So a lot of times in advertising, it's kind of hit or miss, and you might be driving the wrong traffic. So with Visual Visitor, you're gaining an understanding of which companies and which types of companies are visiting your site, and where they're coming from if they were referred by a particular place, so that you can start controlling your advertising and understanding if it's effective. So those are just some additional uses for Visual Visitor that really help guide your marketing and sales efforts.
Oh, that's a great one, Kevin. I really like on that market segmentation, especially the amount of money and time that's spent driving specific traffic to your site and just knowing, is that actually working, so you can start that buyer's journey.
Exactly.
Perfect. So now we move over to how can you sell it? What are we sell? What is the price on this? So here's the exclusive offer. It's $35 a month per customer that you activate this for. Now, I know a lot of you have been through that activation process when you go into the account, and then once you actually activate the product, it is available immediately through your customer's business center. Now, this is where your customers can go in and they can install that, take that script and install it, or you can do it for them, or work with whoever is managing that site for them. And again, you get all of those great features that Kevin had listed off, from the list of website visitors, the company name, interest, contact info, length of time spent on your site. All of that to you is at $35 a month. Now, you can position this however you want to go out and sell it to your customers. There's a couple different prices that you can use. But one of the big things is you as a partner have businesses coming to your own website all the time. You can use this for yourself. Identify your own leads, just the same way that Vendasta does, that we do on our own site, and do the same thing. You should be using this on your site as well, and ask your partner success manager about it. We can help you out with it. We can work with you on it and kind of show you the ins and out of it too.
Cass, there's also another great opportunity for this, and that is, as you're installing it on your customer sites and potential customer sites, it gives you an understanding of which of your competitors is visiting their sites as well. So if you have a competitive bid out for site redesign work or anything like that, it gives you that edge of hey, is web.com involved, is such and such involved, so that you can understand who's visiting and what are they looking at, and at least it lets you have some insight into what's going on.
Absolutely, and we see that all the time on our own site too. We find it a little funny, but it's definitely an eye opener when you're seeing what they're taking a look at. So again, that opportunity, what can you go out and sell this as? Well, as a DIY on the low end, around $60 a month. Now it really depends on how much you're going to be providing for them, setting it up onto their websites, managing, maybe helping them manage their leads or giving them direction. You can start selling it for a little bit more, but it really depends on your customer and what your customers are looking at and who they're kind of going afterwards. And moving into that piece, these are the types of companies that this works best for. And Kevin, can you speak a little bit to these parts here as to the type of customers that would work best for Visual Visitor?
Sure, and this is not an all-inclusive list. This is just kind of a list we put together of saying, we're primarily a business-to-business offering. So, we find that basically anybody selling to another business is a great fit. And, we find really great acceptance with things like software development firms, with, heavy equipment leasing, people that are used to using technology as an edge, which nowadays is a significant number of these B2B agencies. Everybody is looking for a way to get a foot up.
Absolutely. Great one. And I'm sure as time goes on, we're going to be finding more and more different situations and different businesses that this can work out for as we keep talking to you as partners and understanding maybe different areas that this can work in. So now there's some selling challenges. Yep. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah. So, like with all services, there are challenges to selling, and it's not always going to be a great fit for everyone. So we thought we would just help everyone by talking about some of the challenges that we face. So, the very first challenge is if there's just simply not enough traffic. If you've got this really great website, but the only people that are visiting are the Google and Bing bots to do indexing, then there's not really going to be a whole lot that we can do with identifying traffic that doesn't exist. So believe it or not, that is one of the realities that we face when we're selling. The next piece is, companies sometimes aren't sure what to do with the information. So while it seems simple enough that, hey, you gotta pick up the phone and make the call and engage with the potential customer, but there are quite a few companies that are afraid to pick up the phone and start that conversation. But really, in today's market, you have to be willing to do that if you're going to drive your sales forward. And the last is really around just incorrect expectations. So sometimes people come to us and wonder why we don't pick up the phone and contact the prospect for them. Well, I mean, that's not the business we're in, but that's a great thought. But it's really about just aligning the expectations of what the system does to how it can help them enter the buyer's journey earlier, as long as they use the information to engage with the prospects.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kevin, on that. That's some great selling challenges that you've brought up there. So as a part of our next piece is making sure that you go in and you enable the product, create a package. You can bundle this in with other Vendasta products or something that you're already selling. If you're already building websites, this is a kind of a no-brainer, I guess, of adding it to that type of package for your websites. If you really have your customers are asking for leads, this is the way to do it. Show the proof of performance that you have their website moving up and running in the right direction. So let's get to some winners here. So out of our random draw, you might have to answer a skill testing question, but we have Timothy Lawless, Amber Williams, Adam Roseland, and Claudia Rodriguez. Congratulations. You just won 3 months of visual visitors each for your clients. So we'll make sure to let your success manager know, and they will contact you right away so that we can get that up and running for you as soon as we can. So we'll take it on to the next one for any questions. Then look like we have some questions up here. So first question we'll ask here. Kevin, it seems like this may be a violation of privacy laws. Can you speak to this a little bit?
It's not a violation of privacy laws because we're not actually tracking the individual or their web history once they're off of your site. So we're simply tracking their motion through your site and identifying them through public information.
Perfect. And another question here, is this a white label product or must we tell client that we have an affiliate relationship? Thank you, David. It's not a white labeled product, so it will show visual visitor within the dashboard. Now that dashboard is available in Business Center, so your customers will have access to that dashboard if you give your customers access to Business Center, which we hope you do. And then you as a partner can always impersonate and go right into that dashboard also. So you can always go into that dashboard and start doing some work for your customers if need be. Another question here, is there a limit as to users or visitors, Kevin?
Typically, each account comes with 3 users, but we're of course flexible on that. And about 10,000 page views, but we really never have anything to say as long as it's under 40,000 page views a month. So we're really flexible, and we very rarely ever bill extra on those things unless it really is a high traffic site, like say, you know, something like 80 to 100,000 page views per month. But typically what we see, most of the B2B businesses will run under 10,000 page views per month.
Okay, perfect. And another question here, what is the best strategy to use this for maybe a B2C campaign?
With the B2C campaign, the best way to use this product is with the form capture integration and the email campaign integration. So as you're doing your email campaigns, you're tagging the visitors so that whenever they return to your site, you know the exact visitor so that you could use that information to reach out to them and engage with them.
Okay, perfect. Great answer. Another one here. Does your back research put data from Dun & Bradstreet or data.com, which we use to reflect the decision makers? So I guess
I'm sorry, can you?
Are you using Dun & Bradstreet, or where is that information coming from on the business?
Yeah, we have many different resources for that. It is not coming from Dun & Bradstreet, but we do have many different sources for that data.
Okay, perfect. And another question here. Are you able to capture or cross-reference phone numbers for any of the B2C campaigns?
No.
No? Okay, perfect. Hopefully that answers your question there, Kent. So that seems to be all the questions that we have right now. Let me just double check here. Yep, that's all the questions that we seem to have right now. Thank you very much. So remember your next steps. Please go into Marketplace, enable the product. That means that you now have this product available to go sell to your customers. Putting it into a package by putting it into your store that's available to your customers in Business Center is very important. That way you can get hot leads from your customers clicking on the product. They can see exactly what they're going to get. And again, contact your Partner Success Manager. If you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to be on any calls with our Partner Success Managers. I know Kevin will as well. Kind of alluding to the white label question, let's talk to our Partner Success Manager. Maybe there's something we can do there for you separately, but there is a potential option there also. So Kevin, thank you very much for being on this webinar. It was great information. Thank you for the answers. It was. I know that our partners are definitely going to be using this right away.
And thank you, Cass, and thank everyone who attended today, and look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. And again, my name's Cass Niker. I'm in charge of vendor management here. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email or talk to your Partner Success Manager. And we'll make sure that this webinar is available in the support channel, as well as a copy of this presentation for you so that you can maybe reference to this later on at another time. So thank you very much, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you next week.